What up, everybody? Good morning. Man, it was another pretty solid weekend. Pretty great times. Got to just hang out with my brother. Went to the beach. Went there early, just in the morning. Just laid down a beach towel, big straw hat, side shades, over the face, laid back, just listen to the waves crash. Hang out with my brother that night. Next morning, beach sunrise. Good times, man. It was music, jams, just listen, just cranking up, windows down, music. Damn, doesn't get better than that. It really doesn't. Ah, well, if you if you know me in real life, then this is likely the video you've been waiting to watch. Um, if you notice the title, Joy, May You Rest in Peace. I realize this is going to be a two-part episode, and the reason I realized that was because I had trouble between deciding between two different titles, and the other title was on surviving an evil miracle, because that's what this all felt like. It felt impossible. It felt like impossible, but it happened, and it was evil, and it was wrong. It was not fair. Joy, just heads up, I cry at art. I cry at movies. I cry at songs. I cry observing nature, observing my loved one. I cry. I feel my feelings. I love feeling my feelings. You better believe if you cannot handle human emotion, this will either be some practice for empathy, or you're gonna have a hard time getting through this because I'm gonna cry a little bit. But Joy did not deserve. No human being deserves the torment she endured. None. No one. I wish it upon no one. She really didn't deserve it. She really didn't. When I tell you, man, there are times I walk through this world and I observe people drawing breath and living their lives, and in that moment just wish entirely that she could switch places with them. Like, that motherfucker does not deserve to be here. My wife is forever 32. That's when she passed away. She deserved, man. She deserves so much more. She was 32, but man, when she was gonna turn 60, she would have looked 20. That was something about her. Like, she was a real baby face, and she hated that. She, I, not in a creepy way, but I loved it with the foresight, with the knowing, like, man, she's gonna be stunning. She's gonna go into her golden years. She's drop dead gorgeous, and I was really looking forward to that. um, man, she hated that because because when she was 19, she looked 12, and so no one took her seriously. And and I was a rare exception that she was very quickly drawn into me because I took her serious and I listened and I cared, and um, she was brilliant. And I guess preface before I go any further, I do want to say um, that I am moving on, and I guess it's important to say that I am ready to, in her honor, move forward. And I guess it's just important to put out there that, you know, she was the love of my life, but I'm learning to accept that she is gone, and I am ready to move forward. I'm finally starting to go on dates again. I guess my view on dating has always and love has always been not to look for it, but to be lovable. You know, I think the concept of looking for love is really stupid and misguided phrase. You don't look for love. You make yourself attractive, and love comes. Like that's and so I have known for the past 2 or 3 years that I have not been in any kind of way an attractor. Like, and I didn't want that. You know, I was still processing her passing and her torment and the trauma, how that impacted me. So I guess before really diving in, I just want you guys to know, like, I'm okay, and I'm gonna feel my feelings today because she deserves them. She deserves that. She earned that. She was a wonderful partner. Like, truly. I wish more people knew that, because the reason they don't is because we were so hidden. We were both romantics and both dreamers and both okay with running away and doing our own thing, doing it our way and doing it well. And man, so Joy, for the best years of my young adult life, her last name was Holbrook, and unfortunately, it didn't last. She didn't die with my name. I'll explain a bit more why in that second episode. But really, this first episode, all I want to talk about is her. I just want to dote on her one last time. Joy Hendrick was a reclusive person. She was very sheltered growing up. Her parents had a great plan. You know, she was one of 6 kids, second in line. They had a great plan for all the kids to be homeschooled. Unfortunately, their 6th pregnancy had complications, and that really disrupted everything. And so they went from having this really solid plan for homeschooling to everything just being thrown into chaos. But they still kept them home. So unfortunately, what started out with the most golden of intentions to be a good homeschooled experience for my late wife and her family members, her siblings, ended up being a very unhealthy situation where they were just kind of sheltered at home for most of their childhood. So she was not exactly a social butterfly. She really wasn't. And she could be so mean, and it took her, man, I had to teach her so much. Like, it was the perfect mansplaining relationship, like, because she accepted, she knew that she was like out of touch. Like, she was like, well, okay, if you say so, but I mean, they should just get that, like, or they shouldn't be that lame, or, you know, it's like, yeah, but maybe consider, you know, and just, we would always have these conversations of, like, of why you shouldn't just be an asshole just because, you know, man, I'm gonna kind of probably dance around a bit. I have some notes here that'll keep me on track. But one thing I loved about Joy was I never had to worry about her getting hit on and being like susceptible to it because of this. Because of how reclusive she was, but also because she hated manipulation and she hated this Riz culture we have of popularizing being a douchebag in order to get a phone number or Instagram or whatever. It's become so popular for the younger generation to just kind of approach women and be a dick, and women have been like that's all women have in their pool now, so that they just learn to accept it, unfortunately. But Joy could not stand that shit. And like, I mean, one time I remember I visited her at work, and this guy, she worked at one of the Valley Medical, I forget the franchise, but she was like a clerk, and would process insurance and stuff. And they wore pretty nice outfits. Like they made her look good. She was good. But the this guy tried to hit on her, and we were friends at that point. We weren't dating, but the way she shut him down was like, oh my god, I loved it, dude. She was like, "What are you doing? What is this? What do you think I'm supposed to do with this right now?" Like she made him feel so stupid, so small. Like, what is the point of this? Leave me alone. What are you? Like, who are you? Like, she just tore this guy to pieces. And that's how every time there was never a doubt. Our loyalty to each other, never a question, because she knew where I stood and I knew where she stood. There was never a question of like, oh man, like maybe she'll cheat, or like maybe no, that was never a problem at all, because we loved each other almost as much as we despised kind of cultural norms. Not as we never hated people, and that was something that I had to kind of school her on. It's like, hate ideas, don't hate people. There are bad ideas and there are bad habits and all that, but like, she stopped being so rude and so edgy to people. She really smoothed out, and I don't know. So dating her was so fun. Dating her was amazing. Our first date, god damn, it's one for the record books. It wasn't planned as a date. We were just really good friends. I was in my mid-20s. She was on the lower bracket of 20s. And, she was studying for nursing, and like she would go to like Rudy's Barbecue or like random places in the city that like no one goes to, frankly, during the day, to study for her like nursing exam and all that. And I would just tag along, and I wouldn't pay for the food because she hated gifts. She despised, because again, she hated feeling like what? So now I owe you something? Like she was so wise to everything. So she was like, no, we split everything. And I was like, okay, like, if you say so, I don't mind paying though. And she's like, no, you're not paying. Like, God, she was the best. Our first date was just us hanging out. We had never gone to South Padre. I mean, we gone to South Padre together a few times, but not in the evening in the way that we were. But so it was like dark, and when you're going over the causeway, one of the first things that really just pops out from really far away is the Sapphire Towers. And so Joy, she's such a fan of. She was such a fan of architecture, and she wanted to check them out. And so I made a wrong turn and ended up going down the driveway that leads to the Pearl, the resort hotel there on South Padre. And so we were like, well, we're here, let's check this one out, And so we just went through into the lobby, straight to the elevators. And we went to the top floor, talking all the while in between, enjoying just having just being friends and having a good time. We get to the top floor that the elevator could take us to, and we start taking the stairs and up, and it's the rooftop door, and it's propped open. It's like, oh, usually they're locked. You can't access it. And so we go up there, and we're not even thinking that there's like a worker up there because that's why. But we're up there, and it was just so loud because the wind from the beach is just like roaring, and it was at night. The stars were out, and we were just looking all around, and we were yelling and screaming because because it was so loud we couldn't even hear each other. And as we were like spinning around yelling, we turned and saw like a guy standing on the corner. He had his back turned to us, and I think because of how loud it was, he didn't see us. And so we were just like, "Oh shit!" And we booked it. And then we tried, of course, to walk over to the Sapphire, but they're condos, so you can't. You have to like have a scan thing to even use the elevator. So you couldn't really explore that. And so we went from there, just explore, just walking the beach and talking, just talking. Of course, close to the Pearl. At the time, it's not as great of a restaurant as it was back in the day, but man, for the first date, fuck, did I hit the home run? God, it's this Italian restaurant called Gabriella's, and man, the salad was delicious. The fucking salad was amazing. she she was so beautiful that night, and we had a waiter that was just like so active and awesome. The other plates of food would go out. He'd stop him. He'd go, hey, okay. So this right here, this is the gabagool. This is the whatever the hell. This is like he explained every bit of food. We look over. There's this other waiter. He's doing fucking magic tricks for the and we're just there, and it's beautiful. You have the candles with the melted wax, and it's gorgeous, and the atmosphere was gorgeous, and the energy of the wait staff was excellent. The food was fucking on point. And we get to talking and talking and talking. And at one point, I ask her this question. I go, if money wasn't an obstacle, what would you want to do with your life? Like if you could just purely pursue your most passionate pursuit, what would you? And she cut me off mid-sentence because at that point she'd had enough. She couldn't handle it anymore, and frankly, neither could I. She cut me off, and she goes, "Stephen, can this be our first date? Can this please be our first date?" And I was like, yeah. Because I was falling madly in love with this girl. It was the best first date ever. And man, when I tell you how awkward and a beautiful kind of awkward that next day was, where it was just like, okay, what now? Like, what are we now? Where do we stand? Are we boyfriend, girlfriend? Do we even use labels like that? What does this, are we just dating? Like, we were such great friends. And so, but she was just like, hold the phone. All right, it's fucking stop. Okay, enough, universe. Okay, everybody, fucking stop with the tap dancing and the complete beauty of everything. She cut me off, and she asked me if that could be our first date because it was just so wonderful and organic. It wasn't planned. It just played out that way. And that was the moment that I knew that we were gonna fall head over heels in love, and we did. Fuck, we did. I remember feeling the sensation. I know now what love is, what it feels like, and it begins as fear. It begins as fear, and the way that manifests and plays out is you begin to realize that you don't know what life looks like without this person a part of your life. From that threshold on, there comes this threshold. It's a mark in the ground, and everything up to it was just getting to know her, and was just like, yeah, she seems special. But then friendship begins to foster, and kinship and love just begins to flourish, and you reach this kind of point of no return where you go, I think I'm carrying around two hearts now. I think my heart is in my chest, but when she's away, it's in hers too. Because it's scary to think of us being apart. It's scary of thinking of this not working out somehow. Because I've reached this point where I don't want anyone else. I don't want to lose her. I don't want her to be hurt or feel pain. I don't want to hurt her ever. I don't want her to suffer in any kind of way. And man, we were the best of friends. She easily became my best friend in the whole world. And that was wonderful. There's nothing like marrying your best friend. There's nothing like having a slumber party every night. Laughing every night. We loved all the same things. She got way into film, and I followed after her, and I got way into film. I was like, I've always appreciated art and storytelling, but the craft of filmmaking and editing and camera angles and lighting, she really went into it from a director's thing, and really showed me like proper film, the love of film. And, that was something we just really explored together, and that was so fun to do. And just storytelling in general, we watched things together. We played video games with great storytelling together. We did everything. But, there were early signs that something was, for how special Joy was. And the reason I have to make this video, I must make this video, is because she was hidden from the world, and then hid herself from the world. And then when we got together, we started to, but then when we lost faith and left the church, then we really hid ourselves from the world. And that was kind of this thing where like it was hard to, man, that was such a struggle, because I lost faith before she did. And I remember that morning. It was a Sunday morning at church, and I was helping putting the tables away after the sermon, and I just heard the sermon. And the results of this experience of a church service, and this sermon, I just came to the realization, this all at once epiphany, that I couldn't hold back Like faith was never a problem before. This was different. This felt like becoming a Christian. It felt like when I converted to becoming a Christian, this felt like, whoa. The opposite of that was, it felt like, oh, I can't fight away thoughts from this conclusion. Like, this isn't real anymore. I don't buy this. Like, this doesn't jive. And I was losing it on the inside. Joy saw me putting away chairs, and she knew immediately that something was really wrong. And she said, Stephen, are you okay? Like, with real major concern in her voice. And she was like, go outside. And I was just sitting on the curbside weeping uncontrollably at the prospect of my life falling apart. And really, but all I was thinking of in that moment was whether or not I could tell her, because I was so afraid of losing her. Like, she grew up in a very religious home. Like, God and faith, Christianity was all she had known her whole life. And I didn't know, she wasn't as pious and devout as some of her other siblings and family members. Like, but she believed in God. Like, she believed in Jesus. And the prospect of, like, of her feeling like she couldn't be with me anymore, I was crying because I couldn't get it back. I was trying to, like, I was like, I don't think I believe it. I don't think I believe it. Like, I was just, like, losing my shit. I was just like, I don't think I believe it anymore. And when she came down beside me, she was like, tell me what's happening. And I was like, I don't think I can. I don't know if I can, because I don't want to lose you. When I tell you there was no one else on this planet that was beside me during that time, she witnessed my complete breakdown and loved me through it, and loved me so tenderly and beautifully through it. And I knew everything was going to be okay because I had her. That's all I needed. That's how good she was. That's how good a partner she was. And eventually, I tried my best not to, like, push it on her, but she just wanted to hear my explanations. She always valued my insights. She loved to listen to things like this that I would do. I loved preaching. I loved teaching. I loved discipling, sharing, all of that. Like, that was my whole life. And so I loved sharing, and she loved sitting and listening. She was such a good listener. And so she just wanted to hear, like she knew how devout I was. She knew that between me and her father, we were the two most devout people she ever met, ever knew. She knew that in order for me to lose faith, it had to be substantial. It had to be. And so she heard me out, and man, those early months were so hard, because I began to see, it broke my heart. I began to see her, she lost her faith, and because she realized what I was saying was true, and she had that realization, and she was just beginning, she was becoming a nurse, and it was, she was at work at the hospital and just crying, because she was like, oh my gosh, like, she started going through the same thing I went through, which was, what does this mean? Like, for me, what does this mean for life? What does this mean for my family, but man, But what a trooper, what a partner. We were not going to separate ever. We were not going to divorce ever. She was the love of my life. She won't be now. I will find someone else. And when I tell you that whoever comes next, God, if you let me give you a crown, God damn, you're gonna be a queen. I have a lot of love to give, and I was so happy to give it to Joy. She was so worthy, and I have a good eye for people, and I think I'll find the next person. But man, when I say that our life was amazing together, it really was. She was reclusive. She had that sheltered upbringing. What I didn't really consider that much is that she might also have some genetic predisposition to mental illness. And this might be a little controversial for people who know the situation, but it was always fairly obvious to me that she was genetically predisposed, that this was something passed on to her. In order to achieve that kind of that catalyst of psychosis that breaks and unleashes the mental illness, that takes stressors and natural environment things that I think I'll go into in the next episode. But she, I remember seeing early signs. I do. In retrospect, it just, when you're married, I mean, it's the funniest thing just looking forward to their period. It's just like, oh, she's gonna be a crazy bitch this week. Like, you know how it is, like, So there are things like mood swings and things like that you're just like, oh well, yeah, I guess that just happens, And there would be times where she would be so angry with me, and she'd be like, I just don't know why I'm so angry with you, but I just am. And there literally wasn't a reason to be. Like, I was on my shit. I was working. I was cleaning. I was, I wasn't being a bad partner. And so it genuinely was like, yeah, why are you mad? Like, what is going on, And at one point, we lived in Austin, Texas, and I swear, it was just hard living there during a little stretch. I'd lost my job with the airport security, and we were living in a studio apartment. It was tight, and there was just this little brief window there that was exceptionally hard. And I watched for one evening her be someone else, and it scared the shit out of me. I didn't know who I was talking to. Before she came home, she picked up a pack of cigarettes, and she had it on this like halter top. She never wore revealing clothing or anything. And she sat by the pool, and the way she was talking to me was so unsettling. I was worried I was losing her. But it was such a, where is this coming from? And she's like, she was just, her whole disposition, she was being sexy, she was being like, I don't care, whatever you want to do, I don't care. She was not being herself at all. It was so strange. It was so entirely strange. And in retrospect, I realized that was kind of the first expression of one of her personalities that I ever saw. And I didn't see it again, honestly. Like, that was a major flag. That was a major, like, hey, what was that? Like, that was really strange. And I'm sure her family members, they probably have stories maybe of her growing up, maybe when they were just with her alone, maybe where they just saw her acting away, where it was like, wait, who is this? This is not you, you know? And so that was, there was just an early sign that, that, that preceded a really evil miracle. She became a different person after her psychosis. And it happened. We separated after maybe 6 weeks of just like irrational fighting and irrational kind of like, why? What do you know? Joy, what's going on? Like, after her psychosis, which again, I'll talk about in the next episode, she was a completely different person. And she remained in a state of psychosis for over a year and a half, more or less. So she was not in the driver's seat of her own mind for a while after we separated. Unbeknownst to me, I did not know, and neither did she. And the consequences of that were very traumatic and very hard. Because when she finally was institutionalized and against her will, because you can only be institutionalized once you become a threat to others or yourself. She was at a hospital. She called me 4 a.m. I woke up in the middle of the night, and she's talking to me in this tiny voice. And she goes, "Stephen, I need you to lie. I need you to lie for me. This you're about to talk to someone. I need you to tell them." And I'm just like, "Okay, Joy, okay." I know how much I meant to her, even in the middle of her not being in charge. And her sister, thank you, Adrian, confirmed this. She confirmed this to me, that I was her emergency contact all throughout. And we did talk. And I told her, I'm your best friend forever. I don't care. I don't care if you don't love me anymore. I don't care if you don't have romantic feelings for me anymore. But I'll be goddamned if I'm losing your friendship because you are my best friend. Period. Like, so if you need anything ever, I'm here. I'm here. And I did visit her a few times. And guys, I'll save it for the next episode. But, man. Savor the love you have with your partner. Evil miracles exist. Things like amnesia exist. Imagine being with the love of your life, and one day there's a car accident. She has damage to her brain, and she doesn't remember you. And she doesn't love you. And maybe she'll fall in love with you again. Maybe not. But all the history and all the memories and all the beauty and the wonder of life, that's happened to people before. And my situation has happened before too. Schizophrenia causes irrational conclusions. You know, there are aliens that want to abduct me. The government is out to get me. They're listening on all my phone calls. This irrational paranoia. There are family members that are out to rape and murder me. Like, there are, like, it's insanity. Like, there aren't English words to really convey mental illness. It really is. She was not the same person anymore. I lost her. I had to grieve my wife twice. I had to grieve her twice. Once while she was still alive, walking around just as beautiful, being just as breathing. And then I had to grieve her when she finally succumbed to the voices and took her own life. And again, we'll talk about those things in the next episode, but I have to tell the world at least once, that Joy Holbrook was amazing, and she had a lot to give to this world. She'll forever be 32. She's gone. But when I tell you the phrase rest in peace means more to me than anything. The torment that she endured in the final years of her life. And I just a few shout outs to Joy's family. I love you all. I'm so sorry for how the way things panned out. I'm so sorry. No one knew what was going on. It wasn't your fault. It wasn't her fault. It wasn't my fault. It was such an impossible situation. And a shout out to Dan and Jess. If you guys watch this, you two were our only friends in a time when we moved to Austin and then followed you guys up to Seattle. You two got to witness our love in a way that very, very few people did. You got to see me dote on her, and you got to see her laugh with me. And you guys provided an environment for us to be ourselves, to crush white wine on ice and play Settlers of Catan and just hang out and just thank you guys so much. I love you both so much. I really hope you see this because you know how special she was too. And you know how great our love was. And so it was just so great. It's good to cry like this. It's good to share like this. Love exists, guys. Don't lose hope. Be a romantic. Give in to hope. Fuck cynicism. Fuck despair. Fuck the pain. What I've learned, and I say this shit with my chest, I fucking know it now, is that the gratitude for the memories I have of her, they have defeated the pain from her loss and her torment. And I'm a stronger, better person. She gave that to me in the worst possible way. She didn't have to do it like that. Fuck, she really didn't. God, I can't believe she did that. Oh, man. There's a lot more to say, but I'll save that for tomorrow. But if you've gotten this far, if you could handle my emotions and handle just the beauty that she was brilliant. She was bold, so fucking brave, so bold, strong, so strong. In this tiny, petite, she was a ballet dancer. She was so graceful. She walked around the kitchen on her tippy toes. Oh man, God, she was amazing. If you got through to this point, thank you. Thank you for tuning in. I love this. I love doing this, and just thank you all for your support. I appreciate you guys, and yeah, the next episode will come tomorrow, and we'll kind of talk about where it went bad, and I will avoid I will not talk about the details of her death out of respect for her and her family. It's far too treacherous and awful. This episode was about celebrating her life and our love, and that's all I'm thinking about tomorrow. We'll see how I do tomorrow, because it was, the bad got bad, guys. It got real bad. But in any case, thank you guys. Thank you for listening and watching, and I'll see you guys again. Life is good, and everything's gonna be okay. Love is possible. It's all gonna be good. Okay? Alright. Love you guys. Y'all take it easy there. You know what I'm saying?